Happened, I think, today or yesterday or sometime. I don't know. I just hit the buttons and look at stuff. But um Donald Trump made this announcement today or yesterday within the last 24 hours about going after movies. And it's been met with mixed reaction. Give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to actually hear it. I'm just trying to get the actual video for you all because I don't do my research up front. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. Let's see. So Trump discovering tariffs just throws tariffs at everything. I'm going to tariff you. I'm going to tariff you. I'm going to tariff you. Huff and puff and tariff the house down. And, good for him because he kind of figured it out. But this is what was brought up today or yesterday when he was on his way to the helicopter in regards to the movies.
The movie tariffs.
Yeah, the movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movies, the movie-making capabilities from the United States. And I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I've done some very strong research over the last week. And we're making very good movies now. Hollywood's being destroyed. Now, I have a confident, grossly incompetent governor that allowed that. So I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movies. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, and we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money and supporting them. And so that's sort of a threat to our country in a sense. And it's been a very popular thing. I can tell you one thing, movie makers love it.
So it's been mixed. Of course, liberals have kind of come out and been like, oh, it's a bad idea. But there is some truth to it. Now, Trump wrote on Truth Social, the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to Hollywood and making other areas within the U.S. are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. We'll talk about that in a second. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming out into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. Now, of course, the first thing is what are you applying the tariff to? Like if they film the movie Dune in Africa, do you apply tariffs to them, to the country, to the studio? It's kind of all over the place. Nobody really knows. But it's really more of a marketing tool because he's just trying to get people to stop using the UK and stop using Canada and stop using other places because LA is dying. Not that you and I care, but LA, Chris Gore of Film Threat, he's going to have he's going to talk about this all day Wednesday. He has a show already teed up for it. And his guest is a filmmaker. And that filmmaker is essentially saying Hollywood is going to be Detroit. LA is going to be Detroit in 10 years. Movie making will never go back to LA because of the taxes and because of the structure that is around the film industry in LA. Part of that is Governor Newsom. Part of that is the film industry. All of these other things. Yeah, Newsom's getting a pretty big share of the blame on that, as he deserves. But there was something he said in this note, which is very important. Movies are America's number one export. Culture is America's number one export. And it used to be that we made movies for the people of this union, and then you would tweak one or two things to make it a little bit more culturally appropriate for whatever the market is, and then you would send them abroad. Now, with China, and really, once again, this is Trump taking a swing at China with everybody else kind of getting caught in the crosshairs. the Chinese, who have been manipulating the film industry through coming in and with their own production companies. I think Skydance is famously a Chinese. You'll see them. If you'll see the films, and they'll tell you they're a Chinese production house. They're funding half of the films. And when they put their money in, they get to change the message, i.e., woke ideology, i.e., the destruction of the family unit, i.e., the destruction of Christendom, all of these things that we've been noting. Not only has it been the film industry being infected with communists, McCarthy was right, but also the infiltration of the Chinese money into the system, making films more generic, making them less watchable, but making them supposedly more broad appeal. Now, Alan from Film Thread went through the fact that the Chinese film box office actually doesn't have that much of an impact, and that's once more propaganda than anything else. So it's interesting. Now, this is a point, and you guys, G Money has said they're trying to make movies in Texas and doing all that. The argument against the tariffs are, yeah, they make movies in the UK, but they also make movies in Kentucky and Georgia and Texas and Rhode Island and all these other places. So what are we going to do about that? What about putting a tariff on that with states that are taking jobs out of LA? The crazy thing is, celebrities and movie stars, movie actors, they hate Trump, yet he bends over backwards once again to try and help them out, which is nuts. But it's very strange, his approach to it. I think the tariffs are really more just to get everybody to the table. So this is from Foreigners in the film industry. This makes no sense, a UK producer said. It implies that a US film is meant to shoot in the US, but the Harry Potter films, The Lord of the Rings, Schindler's List, Mission Impossible, Gladiator, Avatar, and so many more are US films that are shot overseas for obvious reasons. Do these films have to shoot in the US from now on? It's an absurd announcement with no meaning nor understanding of storytelling or creative impulses. And of course, there's that argument, but there is the argument that LA has been completely hollowed out. Of course, that's liberals' fault, and I don't know if Trump can fix that, but there's at least a spotlight on the fact that that part of the industry and the reason why a lot of people don't like modern films exists because they're not made for you. And I think that gets a lot of people shocked when you say, hey, that film's not made for you. That film is made for the Chinese. That film was made to appeal to a broader audience instead of just appealing to Americans first and then everybody else after that. So it's interesting to see this be announced. Now, of course, people will stomp overseas. People are going to stomp and whine the most because that's going to potentially impact them the most. But people here in the States, they may be more open to at least discussing how they can bring back. Now, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the shooting of a film? Because you could shoot like Mission Impossible will shoot in 7 different countries, but then it will come back, as Robert Meyer Burnett has stated, they'll come back to LA and they'll sit in a post-production, and they'll sit in LA for a year. So are you taxing the shoot? Are you taxing the overall film? There's really no idea what this is outside of just Trump saying, you know what? I'm a tariff it. Fine. Hit them with the tariffs. And that's just, and everybody goes, what are you doing? And so now they figure it out. So at least he's using it as a tool to bring attention to the fact that the film industry, and the reason the film industry has gone down so quickly is because it has lost its American footing, its US footing, its roots in Western civilization. And secondly, maybe have some kind of tariff or some kind of incentive. Because think about this, and I'll end on this. Canada and the UK and Australia, they all have their own film boards. What do I mean? You pitch them an idea and they will fund your film. The country of Canada, the country of England, the country of Australia. Why do they do that? Propaganda and tourism. That because they understand films make great propaganda tools, and they make great promotional tools. So other countries will fund them. I'm not saying that we should have a film board to, fund projects. There's enough people with enough money in this union of states to be able to do that. But the idea of trying to find films that promote the values that Western civilization was based on, family, faith, I'm going to sound like a bumper sticker, family, faith, freedom, all that kind of stuff. Those are the things that need to be highlighted, not gender ideology, not any of this other kind of crap that is being forced down our throats, because that's the stuff that's being funded. And hopefully it will, and I don't know if this will happen, it probably won't, wake the people in LA who have the money and who have the power out of the bubble that they currently exist in. But once again, Trump doing favors for people that hate him. All right. I don't know why he bends over backwards for people that despise him. It's nuts in this regard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our first story of the night. Let's get dangerous, as my man Darkwing Duck used to say. By the way, Darkwing Duck was the man, and I will hear no other business about it.